session of 1950. And at that time, I had majored in, what the hell had I majored in? I think accounting. And at that time, I was able to get a job for, what was it, around $100 a month, which was good. And I worked for a bedding company, BEDD. They made mattresses and things.
Well, we wondered if you were playing cards in college. If it was betting or betting.
Yeah.
This was, you graduated with an MBA, right?
Yeah, I got an MBA. And so I worked for them for about a year. And I had a vacation set up for Canada with one of my friends, Dave Berg. And at the last minute, they said, you can't go. We need you, you got to, so forth. So about that time, I became engaged to Arlene. And I quit the betting company.
How old were you at that time?
How old? It was 1951. So I was 22. So my father-in-law-to-be had a lot of little businesses. He was also, his family owned the Independent Lock Company. And that was a pretty big company, and they did a lot of stuff during the war. And his job principally was to sell locks in the Chicago area to the coin machine industry. At that time, the whole coin machine industry was in Chicago. None of those people are around. I think one of them might be around, but not making the same thing. So they were making, they used about 5 different locks. One for the back of the game, one for the coin box, one, altogether there were 5 locks on a game. And each of these guys was making 100 to 200 games a day. Pinball games were the big thing then. So one of his customers, the man who invented the shuffle alley, where you slide a puck and the pins go up, and anyway, which was a really big item for a long time.
Do you remember what company that was?
United.
Oh, United. Okay.
And he believed in making everything himself.
Bird.
So he made all of his components. So my father-in-law said, let me talk to him. Maybe he just designed a counter which counts the number of plays in a game. If he'll sell us the parts, we could assemble them. These are the kinds of little businesses my father-in-law had in addition to selling locks. We could assemble them and sell the counters to all the competitors. And we would tell him, and he wouldn't mind. He didn't care. So that's what happened. So we started out, and after 6 months, my father-in-law, then he was out. He had nothing to do with the business except he would sell sell the coin machine industry. And his, the way he would sell the coin machine industry is he'd go there and play cards for the afternoon with his buddies, his cronies. So I started tooling the counter, and we got it tooled up, and we hired some, I got some engineers to make drawings and things, and we started our company. He had nothing to do with it except he was doing sales. I was doing everything else. And after a while, there was another opportunity. This guy had designed a motor to use in the coin machine. But this time we didn't ask him. we got one of the his engineer who had designed it. This guy was moonlighting for us, and he drew up the motor, and we tooled that, and we started selling it. But a little in his industry, mostly in the vending machine industry, and we sort of took off. He did a little bit of selling, but then I had hired a salesman who was really our chief salesman, and Sid really had almost nothing to do with the business after that.
He still had his other business. He still had it.
Yeah, he had these little lock businesses, and no, he had a lot of stuff, but he wasn't doing anything in ours because we didn't need him. So he mostly was in business with his cousin, Maury Falk, and anyway, then he started Fort Lock, which started to grow. So he had his business, I had mine, but he still owned 3/4 of our business. When we got married, he gave me $5,000 as a wedding present, but I had to put that into business. That was our working capital. So I owned 1/4. He owned 3/4. Then his son Lloyd was in the Army, and after, let's see, it must have been maybe in the middle 50s, he got out of the Army, came into our, Sid wanted to be in our business, so he was my partner. Sid gave him a 50% or 25% ownership. So I had 1/4, Lloyd had 1/4, Sid had 1/2. And we went on, and it was not a happy relationship.
Well,